Okay, this is getting nowhere. This is getting nowhere. Your interpretation of things is very different from my interpretation of things. So instead of typing it, I gotta say it out loud because that's the only way you're going to understand what I'm saying. You start off by saying immeasurable means not able to measure by whatever means you're trying to, not unlimited or infinite. Find me a quote saying he's at infinite or unlimited power, then I'll be quiet. Search up the meaning of infinite, unlimited, then immeasurable. Okay, let's do that. Immeasurable, adjective, too large, extensive, or extreme to measure. Immeasurable suffering. But look at the similar category. Limitless is down here, boundless is down here, unbounded is down here, unlimited is down here, infinite is down here. Let's click on unlimited. Unlimited, not limited or restriction in terms of number, quantity, or extent. The range of possible adaptations was unlimited. Full definition. I just read that. Now let's go to the similar. Limitless, boundless, immense. Oh, there's immeasurable. It's the same thing. It's literally similar. It's the same thing. And the reason why it's similar is because context matters. Now let's go back. Find me a quote saying he's at infinite or unlimited power, then I'll be quiet. Search up the meaning of infinite, unlimited, then immeasurable. Just because another character said they couldn't measure his power doesn't mean that. If that's the case, can't we just say since CBS couldn't measure Bradley power, then it's infinite? No. No character in the Dragon Ball franchise has infinite power. The only character who has infinite power is Zeno. He literally has the ability to erase anything, no matter the scale or complexity of it. In order to do something like that, that takes infinite power. Context matters. So when they say, oh, I sense no limit to Brownlee power or whatever, in context, it obviously means that it's just too high to sense. It doesn't mean it's infinite because Brownlee clearly has a limit. But in the context of One Punch Man, it's vastly different. Saitama literally doesn't have a limit. The show explains the importance around limiters, and it lets you know the show is about limiters, and Saitama doesn't have one. The author lets you know that he started Saitama off at his peak in an interview, meaning whatever ultimate power the character gains at the end of their franchise, that is that main character's peak. And since episode 1, he already had reached that state. He lets us know, Saitama, that 3 years have passed since he gained his invincible power. Let that sink in. Because I've been repeating that nonstop, but yet you're not comprehending this. You keep on saying limiters are growth as stated by the official manga anime. Yeah, of course it is. But what you're ignoring is that once your limiter is removed and you train for a certain period of time, that power level of yours literally becomes immeasurable. But yet you're not comprehending this. So I have to say it out loud for it to freaking register, because there's something in your brain that's not clicking. Once you train for a certain amount of time, in Saitama case, which he still trains every day, his power, it never stops growing. It has already achieved the level of immeasurable, and even now it doesn't stop growing. That is the very definition of unlimited, dude. But instead they said immeasurable. Boros said immeasurable. But people like you are so freaking literal that you can't put two and two together. Saitama literally achieved immeasurable power, and on top of that, he doesn't have a limiter. So it literally is, in that context, infinite. It never stops going. Off of that weak workout routine that he does, it constantly keeps on going up. It never stops. But you're sitting here talking about oh no, it's not infinite. They just can't measure his power. Dude, the context from Dragon Ball Super and the context from One Punch Man is so different. You're literally taking evidence from a different work of fiction and applying it to One Punch Man and saying, hey, immeasurable doesn't mean infinite over here, so therefore it doesn't mean infinite over there. That's exactly what I mean when I say the meaning of these words are different depending on the works of fiction. But let's continue reading what you said. You say just because another character said they couldn't measure his power doesn't mean that. If that's the case, can't we just say DBS couldn't measure Broly's power, then it's infinite? Nope, wrong, point blank, period. I explained it already. So let's continue. Based on what you said, if immeasurable means infinite, then that would be the same as that thing. No, it would not. Context matters. Saying DBS and OPM are different doesn't mean you can say that immeasurable means two different things in the verse, because you're not the writer of either one. I explained to you that context matters, and depending on the context, immeasurable can mean infinite, and immeasurable can simply mean that it's too big to measure. So yes, depending on the context, it can have two different meanings. The fact that I had to literally sit here and make a video to explain this to you says a lot about your interpretation of things. You're not the writer either, dude. What you got going on through your head is pure head canon. Then you continue to say limiters are growth as stated by the official manga and anime. You cannot substitute what you're saying for facts that are supposed by official sources. They clearly said limiters are for growth. You keep bringing up limiters are for growth while ignoring Saitama removed his limiter a long time ago, and you also ignore the fact that once you train for a certain period of time, that power level literally becomes immeasurable, as in infinite. But yet, something in your head isn't clicking. You think, oh, it's just too big to count. No. You clearly aren't putting two and two together. You say that's all I have to say. Everything is literally supported by what I said. I don't have to type a lot. The manga anime made my point by saying limiters refer to growth. No, you made your point by cherry picking. And you made your point by grabbing examples from completely different works of fiction whose context is very different from each other. You're using pure head canon, and you're twisting words. Point is simple to understand. From episode 1, Saitama removed his limiter. From episode 1, when we first saw him, he already went through the struggle of gaining that immense power. He already went through the struggle. And then from there onward, we learned how strong he was from Boros. The moment he said, oh, I sense immeasurable energy from him in the webcomic, everybody right then and there should have knew, oh, he literally has immeasurable energy. And when you put that together with the fact that limiters are a big thing in his world, that should tell you off rip, okay, it's freaking infinite then, because it never stops. This ain't no hypothetical here. He literally doesn't have a limiter anymore, and he still trains off screen. I'm sticking to the facts and nothing but the facts. And the second character to let us know that his power is literally immeasurable is Child Emperor. I forgot what these things are called. That's not in the actual story, but it's actual information. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. Child Emperor builds this device that's able to measure the power levels of the heroes or villains. And the thing with this device is, if the power level is too low, the device can't read it. If the power level is too high, the device can't read it. So he put the device on Saitama and the device couldn't read it. But Child Emperor thought, oh, his power level was just too low to read. And then he put the device on King, because you know King is the running joke. Everybody thinks King is this super strong hero when he's not. And when he put the device on King and the device couldn't read it, he just simply assumed that, oh, King power level is too high for the device to pick it up. So two characters literally confirmed that Saitama power is immeasurable. The fact that I had to sit here, take time out of my day to make a video explaining myself doesn't make any sense, dude. The way you interpreted things needs to change because it isn't accurate. You're literally taking context from a completely different work of fiction and applying that same context to One Punch Man when the context is so vastly different that it doesn't make sense. The creator one also said in an interview that he doesn't have any trouble coming up with villains because he can simply just have Saitama punch them away. The setup is all there for infinite power. It's people like you that's not looking at it for what it actually is. It's simple and to the point, and it's easy to understand. But your judgment is so clouded by other works of fiction and what they mean by immeasurable power that you're overlooking the context of immeasurable power in One Punch Man. If this video doesn't get through to you, I don't know what will, dude. All you've been doing is repeating yourself and going in circles. I even sat here and pointed out the flaws in your argument, but in your comment, I even let you know what you're doing. You're literally checking. You're literally cherry picking. You're cherry picking and using headcanon. I asked you to prove that what's his limit, but you're not able to do that. You're simply saying, well, that's all I have to say. Everything is literally supported by what I said. You didn't prove that his immeasurable power isn't infinite. You didn't prove anything. All you did was grab context of what immeasurable meant in Dragon Ball, in the Dragon Ball franchise, and apply that to One Punch Man. And you sat here and said, that's all I have to say. Everything is literally supported by what I said. No, it's not. No, it's not. You say the manga and anime made my point by saying limiters refer to growth. Yeah, limiters refer to growth. Limiters refer to growth. But other sources in the show let us know that Saitama has infinite power by not literally saying he has infinite power. They simply decided on saying immeasurable. In cases like this, open interpretation is good at times. But in other times like this, open interpretations aren't good at all because people like you suck at interpreting things for what they are. Now I ask you again, prove that in Saitama case, immeasurable energy doesn't equal infinite for him. Prove that. Stop repeating the same things that you have been repeating to me and literally prove it. Because there ain't nothing in the web comic that proves that there is a limit to his power. Absolutely nothing. But yet, based on your headcanon, without any actual proof from the show, just prove that his immeasurable power actually has a limit. And using context from a completely different work of fiction isn't proof for One Punch Man. That's simply proof for that other work of fiction. Context matters.